Leonidas was the king of Sparta. During a time of war, the Persians invaded Greece with 200,000 men. As a reaction, Sparta quickly sent a force to delay the invasion. It was a coalition of different Greek city-states and territories. The ultimate force they could muster was around 7,000 men, of which 300 were highly trained Spartans. And this initial force was set to block the advance in a narrow path, which was the Persians' only avenue of approach, was this narrow path. And it was 7,000 men fighting against over 200,000 men. Leonidas was the king at the time. And he didn't have to travel with those men. He didn't have to go and fight with those men. He could have just sent them alone, but he grew up with the Spartan code. So he went in with these men and fought. The two armies clashed in Thermopylae, and the battle was known as the Battle of Thermopylae. Essentially, the Greek warriors had gotten a narrow mountain passage, and they've gathered there to defend it. And it was the only avenue of approach for the Persians, so they were forced to go through that passage. There was also another force of Greeks that were defending a flanking approach. There was a secret area that the Persians could have gone through that they didn't know about. Due to concerns of being outflanked, Leonidas sent around 1,000 men to defend that area too. So they were defending this passage with 6,000 men. And there was a joke that Leonidas made when one of his soldiers said that the Persians could launch so many arrows that it would cover the sun. And Leonidas said, very well, we'll fight in the shade then, without the hot sun. Something along the lines of that. I'm not entirely sure exactly what he said, but it was because there'd be so many arrows, and Leonidas said that those arrows would let them fight in the shade where it was nice and cool. And so it showed his optimism in the face of pretty much certain death. So on the first day of battle, Leonidas and his men had encountered the Persians, and they tried to push through. In the first day alone, they already lost thousands of men trying to get through this flanks. And that's essentially when all the warriors, they hold their shields and they create almost like a turtle shell facing one direction, like a wall actually. And they have like their spears sticking out, ready to take on any invaders. The Persians, they only had these short swords and shorter spears, which didn't let them have an edge over these highly armored, highly trained Spartans. And so the Persians lost thousands of men in the first day and also in the second day. And on the third day, upon Leonidas finding out there was a traitor amongst them, someone revealed to the Persians a way around them. He realized that if he didn't evacuate, his troops would be outflanked and trapped. So he sent the majority of his troops out of the area, but he decided to stay. Him and 300 Spartans decided to stay. In the 3 days that they were defending, it gave Greece the time to react to this invasion and gave them a chance to send their messengers to the neighboring city-states of Greece. When they delayed this invasion, it gave those messengers time to tell the city-states what's going on, the situation, everything that's going on, and telling them that they need men to bolster up the defense of their country. This battle essentially saved the entirety of Greece itself, because if it wasn't for these 3 extra days of preparation, of sending the messages, of delaying this advance, the Persians would have been able to get through the passage and to invade the rest of the country. And so on this third day, when Leonidas was staying and fighting with his 300 men, killing thousands of invaders, knowing that he would die. Imagine that, fighting and knowing for certain that you would die. You're there anyways, and you're a king. You don't even have to stay there. Leonidas was a king. He didn't have to stay there and fight with his men, but he did because he knew the leadership would keep his men strong and optimistic, and he knew they'd fight much harder if he was there. And he also knew how important it was to delay this advance. So surrounded, his men fought until the death. And so this just shows you the power of fighting for a greater purpose. And I think in the modern day, we can all agree that most men lack purpose now. They find like a 9-to-5 job and they just get enough money to be happy enough with it. They get enough money to survive and to eat the food they like and to go out to the bar and drink every Friday, and then to waste those weekends recovering from the hangover. I think we can all agree that most men don't live their lives to the fullest potential that they could. And as a man, I honestly think that it's shameful to live that way. We could offer the world so much more than we're giving. The power of a purposeful mission not only gives us tenacity, it not only gives us drive, but it allows us to fulfill greater things. It allows us to fulfill things that we thought were impossible. And it allows us to keep on fighting for it until we get those. It also allows us to empower the people around us to do great things, whether it's building, discovering, whatever it is. A lot of people don't have the courage to drop what's safe and to do something that's considered risky, because it's a hard thing to drop the safety of maybe a 9-to-5 job, to drop the safety of pursuing a reliable career, something you do not because you like it, but because it provides for your average life. And I think we all have a greater purpose than that. We all have something greater to fulfill than that. And it's easy not to do that because of all the distractions, of how clouded our judgment gets. It's easy to get distracted in the mundane. It's easy to get distracted looking at other people's lives, like celebrities, and wishing that we were them. It's easy to get distracted in the modern world. And when these distractions keep on coming up, it takes our minds off of what we truly want to accomplish deep down. And so when you lived your entire life and see at the end that you worked that 9-to-5 and you retired at 60, but what did you do with your life? Did you reach your maximum potential? Or did somewhere along the way, did you get distracted and you kept going down the rabbit hole of distractions until your life was over? So we can make the decision now and choose either to live an easy life or a purpose-driven life that's difficult, that's hard, that isn't easy to do, doing things that aren't easy, making decisions that aren't easy. I want you to make this choice now. Would you rather live an easy, simple life, doing what everyone else does? Or do you want to make a difference? My philosophy is, if I'm here to change the world. I'm here to make a difference. I'm not here to sit around and wait. I make my own opportunities. So ask yourself this question now and think about it. You deserve the consequences of your actions.